What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and man, welcome to episode 112 of Expert Mentors Live. Man, super excited for today's episode. Got Mr. Parker Pemberton on with us, and man, we're going to dive into a lot of things. Definitely going to talk about, right people, right positions, consistent growth. But man, let's dive in. Parker, say hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
Yeah, thanks, John. What's up, everybody? Parker Pemberton. Happy to be here. Happy to share everything I've learned through my journey in real estate and building a team. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, run a team out of the Twin Cities, partnered with my dad, Steve, and we are going on year 5, technically 5.5 of building our team. But we've been selling real estate here for much longer. Yeah.
Much longer, right? I mean, you kind of grew up in the business. So, man, how was that? And then the transition, to even get into it full time as you got older?
It's a great question. Yeah. So grew up in a real estate family, literally used to go on listing appointments with my dad when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. And it was only because I had 3 other brothers and they had to take me somewhere. So I got pretty familiar with sitting at random people's kitchen tables and hearing real estate terms and, talking about life and challenges and all of that kind of stuff. And I think I got to watch my dad win the personality contest, that is a listing presentation, that is earning our clients. And so I was lucky to be able to grow up in a family like that. It's not where I started. I went to college. I played golf at New Mexico, and I played professionally for 4.5 years after that, which is a big reason for my personality nowadays, who I am, how I conduct myself. That was a chapter in my life that led me to where I am today. When golf ended, I started a landscaping company. It was more or less a lawn mowing service, to be honest with you. I came home and I said, what the hell am I going to do next? I mean, this is like all I've focused on for 25 years of my life. And now I got to figure something out. So started going door to door in that business. I learned very quickly that if you can be a step above your competition from an appearance standpoint, from an experience standpoint, everything from the way you talk, the way you look people in the eyes, you can get ahead very, very quickly. And so that business kind of took off. Within the first 3 years, I had 500 accounts in my little niche, which was the South Metro market. And when you kind of look back and think about what did you learn during those days, I was door knocking, I was selling, I was earning their trust, I was servicing them, I was asking for reviews, I was getting referrals. Literally the exact same thing as real estate. So the rubber hit the road, and I was looking at my taxes, 2014, and I said, this is just not what I want to be doing the rest of my life. I'm not making the kind of money that I want. I've formed this reputation in the community that my dad has started many years ago, and let's jump in there. So, and honestly, John, the reason I got into real estate was my dad got cancer, and we didn't know if he was going to make it. So somebody had to kind of step in, take the ball and run with it. And I made that decision to do so, and haven't looked back since.
Man, that's awesome. I want to go back a little bit and kind of extract some of the nuggets and the lessons playing competitive golf for as long as you did. What were like some of the big life lessons and things that you still apply to how you conduct yourself to these days?
Yeah. So the mentality of a golfer is very individualistic, right? You're just by yourself out there on the course. You're funding yourself. Everything you're doing, it's mental. You really have to believe in yourself, number one. And then you have to hone your craft. So you have to practice, you have to believe, you have to read. Very similar to business, to be honest with you. And the thing that I like about golf, because I played hockey, football, I played all the sports. The thing I really liked about golf is it's all up to you. And at the end of the day, I could go out there and shoot 65. I did it a lot of times in competition, but there was always another stroke or two that you could always gain. Is that putt you've missed. And everybody watching this who's golfed knows exactly what I've talked about. And, I got to the point where it was maybe 1 or 2 shots around, and other people it might be 10 shots around. But the pursuit of perfection in golf is really something. And it really trained me to be be a businessman, because every day in business is you have the opportunity to get better. Everything from the numbers side of things to the people side of things to the marketing side. I mean, it's very similar. So yeah, I was trained.
Yeah, that's spot on right there, man. And it's always, even thinking back on, some, like even me, even some really great rounds, you still think about that, damn, that if I would have just got that one shot, right? Or if it just, it's crazy how that hangs with you for forever, honestly.
Well, and to relate it to real estate, what we're doing is when I started, I saw all the big guys on stage, and I saw all the interviews, and for me, I was already training myself to say, well, if that guy can do it, why can't I do it? And in golf, it was the same thing. Somebody beats you one tournament, you beat them the next. You start to believe that you can compete and keep up with these guys. And it's funny because now looking back, some of those guys that I saw on stage, I'm either equal with or maybe even a little ahead. So it's just right here. And, I've always been pretty strong mentally. I've always believed in myself. To me, the best risk you can take is in yourself. And if you're going to fail, you're going to fail forward. So
right.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is another great lesson to pull from there, from the golfing experience, is that, you learn from those mistakes, right? You learn. And I think too, it also teaches you, if you excel at golf at any level, it teaches you consistency. And you have to show up, you have to be consistent every day. You've got to be willing to put in the work. And so I can see how that's served you well moving forward. So let's talk about, getting the business going and kind of stepping up, when your dad, you need to step in there and partner with him, going through, health scare, going through that. What did that dynamic really look like in the beginning? And then we can talk about, what it is today.
Yeah. I was so lucky at that time because I had a mentor who was in the same office with me, who allowed me to run as fast as I possibly could. And when I screwed up, he was there to help solve the problems. Right. I mean, whether it's transactionally or it's a bad investment made or anything. I mean, my first year in real estate, I bought like 4 air conditioning units, because I screwed up inspection amendments. Right. Oh, you look at me and be like, all right, just sell a couple more houses, you pay them off. Really? So I was able to run really, really fast with the help of my dad and several others who have helped me through the years. And that's key, because if you're just by yourself and you don't have mentors, you don't have anybody to look up to or reach out to and talk to about some of your problems, you're going to have to handle those internally, and it's going to take you longer to reach success.
Yeah, absolutely. What, when you guys got in, what was the team dynamic, team setup look like at that time?
When I joined him, he had a buyer agent. And she's still with us today. She was, still a great team member to us. And he had an assistant. So I stepped into a very small operation. And when I kind of looked under the hood, I saw this great business that had been running for 38 years with no systems, no processes, no repetition. It was like shooting from the hip. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, he made a hell of a living for a lot of years straight, but there was so much potential there that it intrigued me to look deeper and to figure out how we could automate a lot of the business, how we could hire people, how we could grow, and create really a special business that you don't have to just go on listing appointments and meet with buyers every day.
Right.
Something else there other than just selling a house and collecting your commission check. So that really interested me.
What would you say? 38 years. He had to be doing a lot of things right. What were like some of like the key philosophy that your dad had, to have that sustainability for so long?
Yeah. He's so respected too in the community. One of the things I think, if I had to name one, would be to always do the right thing even when no one's looking. Right. Always be a professional, always do the right thing in the right circumstance. And really lucky to have learned that lesson early, I think. There's so many other things too. He's probably the smartest real estate professional I've ever met. Unbelievable negotiator, he handles objections like no one's business. And he's like Floyd Wickman. He's just boom, 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 boom. So yeah, how lucky am I, right? I'm the luckiest guy in the real estate world, really. And I use that to my advantage, because if somebody's given you that opportunity, you better take it. You better take it. You better do better with it. And, internally, I hope that someday I can exceed what he's done. And I hope, someday I can look back and make him proud for that reason. So that's why we do what we do.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. And always doing the right thing. I mean, that served you well on the golf course, I'm sure, as well, for all those years.
Yeah,
for sure. So you guys got in and really starting to put systems and grow the team. I mean, you guys are 20 agents strong today. So what were some of those key steps that we can give, people watching in, tuning into this, like, hey, make sure if you're growing, these are the right steps along the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't start a team unless you're ready for a team, which means you have to be a great real estate professional first. You have to iron out your own business. If you're selling 15, 20 homes a year, you might need some staff, right? But you don't need 5 buyer agents. You don't need a whole bundle of other things. Be the best person you can be. And as you become more successful and you're doing more transactions, then start to hire the right people to alleviate some of the pain points that us real estate agents don't want to deal with when we're running 1,000 miles per hour.
Right.
So what that looked like for me was my first full year in real estate, I sold 82 homes. And I was like, man, this is just great. Loving the money. I was working from 7 a.m. until midnight every single day.
Yes.
And when you sell that many houses, it's pure chaos, right? Like, I was answering my lead calls in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. A lead comes in on Zillow from the UK, and I'm on the phone, and I close the guy. I sell him a house. He refers me somebody the next year. Like, it's just like the stories I have from some of the ways that I ran are hilarious. And, you have to do that first. Like, you have to earn it. You can't come in here and say, oh, I'm going to start a team when you don't have that much action yourself. So,
yeah, I'm with you. So the first thing, 82, like, yeah, you were, that was your life, every ounce of it. I
could have sold more, honestly, but
it's just like you missed that putt. You could have made one more putt, right? It's that mindset, it's that mentality. So, that's not sustainable, right? Year over year. So, like, what kind of triggered for you? It's like, okay, hey, I got to create some more leverage. I've got to, make this to where, I'm not 24/7.
Yeah, 100%. So the first thing you have to do is you have to decide what are the most dollar productive activities in your business. Is paperwork the most productive? Is prospecting the most productive? Is going on appointments? Is marketing? Is designing? You have to decide that. Me and you, John, on this interview right now can't tell somebody what's best in their business. You have to do what you think is best. And for me, it was obviously paperwork. And so we started hiring people out slowly, to the point where I was going on so many appointments that I didn't have time to prospect anymore. And so that's when we had to make a decision, right? And I made that decision. Like, I had to say, I'm either going to continue to time block and prospect, or I'm going to hire somebody and I'm going to teach them how I do it so they can continue to get me to go on appointments. And so that's how we started building it out. And a couple buyer agents came in, had some success. We applied the exact same systems that we were using the previous year. Brought on a transaction coordinator, brought on a manager, a listing coordinator, an ISA, a second ISA. And then when we got up to about 10 agents, we hired a sales manager, because that's the next thing. It's like,
yep,
holy shit, right? Like, you got
exactly.
One agent, you got a minute, right? Do you have a minute? Do you have a minute? Do you have a minute? And it adds up. And so we had to create some space in between the agents and us from a daily perspective. And that was, next to the ISA, was one of the most important hires we've made, in my opinion. At this stage,
did you hire that sales position from within, or did you find somebody outside and bring them in?
No. From within real estate? No. So Brian was outside real estate, taught him everything about our team and about the business. He came in with business knowledge. I believe that somebody in that position has to be a great leader, has to have experience, has to know how to talk to people, how to handle tough situations. So yeah, he was a perfect fit for that.
That's awesome. Yeah. What industry was he in?
He actually owned McDonald's restaurants.
Really?
Yeah, in Wisconsin, little town of Wisconsin. So he came in with, I mean, if you can manage a McDonald's employee, you can manage a real estate agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, the problems are the same. It's just a different level of problems.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
love that perspective. No real estate, flaws, coming in, and he's just coming in from a straight leadership perspective. Was there any challenges with getting the agents to kind of buy into his leadership and his role? Because sometimes, agents are like, well, you don't know anything about real estate, so, how are you going to lead me?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd be lying to your face if I said there wasn't. And it's something where you have to slowly introduce the person into the system and gain their trust. And that starts from doing things that build trust, like spending individual time with them, supporting their goals, holding them accountable, showing them that you're there for them, right? It's like us as team leaders, we're already doing that. So you need to just teach that to somebody else who can then gain the momentum with the agents. And it's not something that's going to happen in 6 months. It's something that I think is going to happen over 5 years.
Gotcha.
So it's a constant work in progress. And I think that you can hire that from within, but the mistake I made in the first place was I hired somebody that was used to selling a lot of houses. And the narrative is kind of a top down, like you're talking down to somebody, which is like, hey, I used to do it this way, or I did it, I sold 40 homes last year. Like that shit doesn't work. Mm-mm. You have to be on their level, understand each individual's person's needs, and be there really as a support, a pillar of support for every agent on the team.
How long how long have you had this sales manager in place?
1.5 years.
Okay. So it's probably gelling pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great guy, and he helps with a ton of things. Like we have some pretty complicated systems, I would say, in our business, and he runs those systems. We have some large national accounts that we've earned that he's running with that. He's the horseman for some of those systems. So it extends past, just being there for the agents. It's also, he's almost like a second CEO, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. In that role. That's, man, that's awesome. That's anybody, you guys listening in, that's a huge takeaway. When you get into that kind of that size, you don't always have to look from within. You can definitely look outside of the industry as well, which is awesome.
The key on, because I think somebody, if you don't mind, I don't mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
The key is to incentivize that person based on production. And so, a lot of people might be thinking, well, I can't afford a sales manager. I have 5 agents right now. Well, if you build it into their production levels with certain incentives, you absolutely can afford it. Because if your agents sell 2 more homes a year, or 5 more, 10 more, it's just a numbers game. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and you've got somebody there that can, really support them at a higher level than you can, especially if you're in production at a high level, right? And it's just time allocation and being able to, where you're going to be able to put your like you said, your energy and what's most important to you, and whatever it is that you're trying to build. Talk to me a little bit about this, the ISA crashing and burning and kind of having to rebuild. I'd love to hear the lessons learned with the ISAs.
Yeah, well, man, that's been the toughest position to hire for since I started, and we're on number 4 now. Really have a solid person running our ISA department now, and he's been with us for 10 months, and man, oh man, such an important piece of building a team, because if you don't have an ISA, you're the ISA, or your agents are the ISA, and I've met about 3 or 4 team leaders that have agents that come to the office and prospect for 3, 4, 5 hours a day. If you run that system, dude, you deserve a huge pat on the back, because it's so hard to accomplish that. Mm-hmm. We made the decision that, we want to have kind of both. We want our agents working their databases, of course, but we also want to have somebody in the background managing all of those leads that are coming into our system and making sure that they're not falling through the cracks. And so, in my opinion, there's 2 types of ISAs. There's an outbound prospector, and there's a database manager. And so ours is a database manager. Gotcha.
Have you found find one that can do both? Have you found one, or is it like, I've got one that can outbound and then that sales development role, right? does it need to be separated, or have you guys been able to find somebody that can do both?
I think it depends on what your database looks like and what your standards are, like what you're looking for. If you're looking for somebody to follow up with all your past clients and make those calls too, it's just not possible. There's not enough hours in the day to inbound, to outbound, to nurture, to just do all the things. And so in our system, we have approximately, let's just say 40,000 leads. We might have a few more than that, right? And so we're running automations in the background they're constantly remarketing and targeting people in our database, trying to create conversation. And when that conversation occurs, he's there to take over. And that's been an extremely strong position for us because we have so many leads. If you have 2,000 leads in your database, you probably don't need to have somebody managing them. If you have 200,000 or 1 million, you're going to need an office.
You need some help.
Yeah. So, for him to be calling outbound, like let's just say expireds and for sale by owners, his skill level is going to need to be so much higher than it is of a database manager. I feel like somebody who's good at handling objections and who may be really talented in real estate should be making those calls, because we all know that they're going to get everything.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. So you're looking at on that outbound, that prospecting side, hey, that's the agent's responsibility. That's on them to make those calls. Whereas our sales development, our database manager, this is what he's going to do. And he's going to bubble up, the automation is going to bubble up the engagement, and he's going to step in to continue to nurture until they're ready to buy. Is that?
Yeah, for sure. And then they transfer to our agents. They set up the initial consult, and you go from there. And our lead ISA manages the transaction process, so like the status updates and those kind of things throughout the entire process. He's incentivized by closings. That's one thing that I learned early on is don't incentivize by appointments, because the person's going to set a bunch of shitty appointments.
Amen. 100%.
100%. We have, and the mentality of an ISA too is important to realize, because they want safety, they want security, they want comfort, right? They want to know that they're going to be okay. But the best ISAs also want to have that carrot that they can chase, that if they do better at their job, they're going to earn more. Mm-hmm. So offering a base salary of whatever your marketplace is, averaging, ours is about 40,000, and then incentivizing it by closings. And for us, that's 5% on a buy side, and it's 7% on the sell side.
Yep. A little bit higher on that sell side.
Yeah.
I like it. No, I think that's a critical distinction with the ISA piece. And, it's as many ISAs that we've had and gone through, the best ones are the ones that can nurture, right? And where agents typically fall short, right? Because they're so busy on the immediate deal at hand, right? What's that next check, right? That what's happening right now, that the nurturing piece falls off. So when you've got as many opportunities in that database as you guys have, that's a critical piece. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's transition to how in the heck did you guys get that massive amount of database? What were the systems and things that you guys were doing to build that?
Yeah. When I started, it was Zillow. It was 2015, 16 when Zillow leads were coming in cheap, and you were able to acquire a lot of them, right? And when I got into real estate, I sat down with this list that my dad had from some sales manager or sales rep at Zillow sold them. He was spending I think he was spending $250 a month, and he had hundreds of leads on this sheet. He just handed them over to me. And that's where I learned lead conversion, because I called all of those leads multiple times. I ended up selling 6 houses from that entire list. And I'm like, look, there's gold in this list. And so as I developed, I started buying a few zip codes here and there responsibly. I tracked it very closely. I had a lender participating. And so when you start doing some of those things, you start acquiring leads very quickly. And then when you realize, Zillow leads are all bottom of the funnel for the most part, you still got nurture opportunities too. So you're going to have systems in place to follow up with those people long-term so you can convert even more. And my first couple of years in real estate, I was 10xing my Zillow spend, which I talked about at the Be Different conference a few months ago.
Yeah.
So we can reference that. But then what you start to realize is that when you have a good nurture process, you can start filling the top of the funnel too. And what that looks like is it looks like Facebook leads, Google leads, neighbor leads, door knocking, sign calls, that kind of stuff. Just put them all into the funnel and apply the exact same system. And eventually, if your system's good enough, it's going to turn out leads who are ready to go. And the more ISAs or the more prospecting you do, the better chance you have. So yeah, for 3.5 years, we were just stacking that funnel with just everything we had coming in. And now with our ISAs, they're required to make 250 calls a day or have 25 conversations or set 2 appointments. So when you boil this all down, it's just a big math problem. So if you're a solo agent or you have a small team, I'd first start off with saying, what's your conversion rate from appointments, right? How many appointments do you need to go on to close X amount of houses? If your goal is to sell 100 houses, you need to go on a certain amount of appointments just based on your ratios.
Right.
And then the more and the more and the more you have, the more opportunity you're going to have. So you're eventually going to run out of time of going on appointments, or you're going to have to figure something else out.
No, it's I love how simple, you're able to keep it, right? So right now you've got key person that's leading the ISAs. That is an ISA as well, right?
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha. So that person's responsible for not only their production, but also the other ISAs as well. So you got 4 of them right now?
No, 3.
3?
So, yeah.
Cool. So you got a leader there, and then you've got your sales manager, your sales leader. Anybody operational to help keep the systems, everything flowing, that you've got a key leader in that position as well?
Yeah, we do. We have, I think, one of the best in the country. She's very, very smart, level-headed, deals with the team in a great way, and more or less is always there for me to help, as we're running so fast. So super important to have somebody like that. Maybe it starts with the lead assistant, as you're smaller, and maybe that person grows with you and earns a position, increase through time. Maybe it's somebody you hire from outside. It just depends on where your business is at the time.
No, that's key. What's your day-to-day look like? Are you still running and gunning production, or are you kind of stepped out? What are your main roles and responsibilities now?
Yeah. Well, number one, it's to be a great dad. I have a 1-year-old son, and it's super cool to wake him up. And, every morning I wake him up, we go on a walk, we have fun.
That's awesome.
My day starts around, my business day starts around 9:00, and I'll sell about a house a week, and that's pretty manageable in my current position, with all of the help that I have around me. 50 homes a year. It's pretty simple. It's all referral business, and everything else goes out to the team. And so, I don't know, I'll play golf like 4 times a week, because it's golf season. And yeah, I'm still working a ton, right? Like we all do. It's just a little different work than it used to be when we started.
What's the goal for the team, for the organization? Is there a headcount target? Is there a rev target? Is there what's the pursuit? What are we pursuing?
Well, I think number one is you have to have a profitable team. You have to have a profitable business, right? And that's always number one. So until your business is 25-30% profitable, I don't think you can stop worrying about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. For me, I've always wanted to be number one. Call it crazy, but I want to grow a very profitable, large team, large business that I don't have to be involved with day to day down the line. I'm 34 years old, so I'm not out of the woods, and I don't act like I'm out of the woods. My goal is always by 40, I'd like to be out of production, and I'd like to live a great life, impacting others' lives, teaching them real estate, teaching them how to invest, how to do it smartly, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Are you guys trying to, what's to be number one in the marketplace? What's that look like?
Believe it or not, Minneapolis, St. Paul has giants in our marketplace. So if you sell 300 homes a year, I don't even think you're cracking the top 20 in the state. It's crazy. Like we have
You do have some behemoths up there. That's for sure.
Yeah. We have some giants and they're friends and I look up to them and I watch them. So, being number one can be changed in a lot of different ways. It could be, you could have an extremely profitable business that allows you to travel and do things you like. It could be great, family work time. It's just really what you really set as your goal. I'd still like to be number one in transaction count and volume, though.
I like it. Who's top right now?
Chris Lindahl.
That's what.
Yeah, I think he just took over number one.
Ooh, that'd be a good target to take down. I know you can get there if you want to, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. Well, cool, man. So any other, key things that we want to drop on the honey badgers here, as it comes to the people component, and then definitely anything else on the lead gen?
Yeah. Well, number one is realize that we're in a people business. It's people first. You have to win the people game before you win the real estate game. That's as simple as that. And if you don't, you're either going to fail as a team leader or you're going to fail as a real estate agent, because it starts at the kitchen table. It really does. You have to win the likability contest. You have to earn the trust of your clients. You have to be a great real estate agent first. So once you figure that out and you can master that, then I think you start building the pillars to a great business and a great organization. Don't go too fast. If you come out of the gates and you bring on 10, 15 agents and you have no support, those agents are going to be gone within 6 months because they're not going to have support and they're not going to have opportunity, and it's not going to go well. So I would build it slow, efficiently, profitably, and responsibly. That would be my advice if I could go back and do it again.
Yeah. Anything that you would have done different on the lead gen side of things?
Probably not. I've wasted a bunch of money. I failed a lot, but that's how you get here, right? Like, I've stayed up multiple nights redesigning systems and testing everything. And no, I really wouldn't do it differently, because I probably wouldn't be where we're at. And I think we have a pretty great system right now that is allowing us to grow the right way. Yeah,
that's awesome. That is awesome. You got a golf club in your son's hand yet?
He's got a plastic one. Yeah, he's got a hockey stick too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Very cool. Well, man, I appreciate you making the time. I know you're extremely busy and rocking and rolling, and so appreciate you making the time, jumping in and dropping some knowledge and some value here in the Honey Badger Nation.
Yeah, if there's anything I can do to help you guys, please reach out. There's so many people in this group that I've learned from, that I talk to on a daily basis, that I'm in mastermind groups with. It's all about that collaboration, and it's all about helping each other. So if there's something that I said that you want me to go a little deeper on, just reach out on Facebook or send me an email. I think my info's in the notes, but yeah, happy to help anytime.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it, and appreciate all you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys give Parker lots of love, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you, John.
See ya.